Today, we're talking about quantum physics and the law of attraction. I am your host, Lia Dunlap, and you are listening to the Oracle on Purpose podcast, where we help intentional leaders clarify their purpose and next steps to create a work and life of significance. At the back of it all is energy. As science zooms in on the tiniest of building blocks, the quark, the mysteries continue to reveal a world working in tandem with our very own energetic thoughts. All of our interpretations are solely based on the internal map of reality that we have and not the real truth. Our map is a result of our personal life's collective experiences. John Assaraf from The Secret said that. And as we talk about quantum physics and the law of attraction, I think it's important to remember that everything, the entire universe, is made up of energy. And that the law of attraction, plainly stated, is this: what you focus on, you attract. As I like to explain to my clients, this does not mean that every random thought you have is going to manifest, which is pretty scary considering we think we have about 50,000 thoughts a day. That'd be pretty crazy. Instead, it's a combination of repetition and vibration of the thoughts that allows them to give permanence in the universe, right? So it's not just random scattered thoughts at all. That's not how the law of attraction works. And so when people think, oh, if I focus on something, then it's automatically going to appear, there's two things that happens. One, they're disappointed because it didn't, or they feel like everything around them is just haphazard and chaos, which isn't the truth. So, when we look at this and we combine the law of attraction with quantum physics, then we get quantum attraction, which we've come to learn is much more than just metaphysical hyperbole. In fact, scientists and scientific studies in recent years have continued to prove that the universe is indeed listening and reacting to our thoughts. The mind-body connection and even the source of our thoughts have been delved into for centuries by the likes of Einstein, Niels Bohr, even Feynman. And in modern times, places and universities and institutions like the Mayo Clinic and the University of Cambridge have all studied this seeming phenomenon of the mind-body connection, only to have found that we've yet to prove where the thoughts we think exist. And not only where do they exist, but why they seem to have an effect on our experiences of reality. There have been studies that are out there that talk about how certain scientists feel like when they work with atoms, they were recognizing that they were actually reacting to the ideas and thoughts that the scientists had about the experiment. And even when they separated the atoms, very technical stuff, and they were in separate sites, that they were having these expected results, but when some other people were doing the same test, they would have different results. And they were like, well, everything else is the same. What is going on? And they came to understand that there were pieces of what they were thinking, right? They were having an impact on the actual outcome of the experiment itself. The atoms were actually responding to their thoughts, or the scientists' thoughts. And this has been going on, like I said, for centuries. And we can play that, down the rabbit hole theory and get lost in all of the very amazing information about how our minds work, how the universe works, how quarks work. And all of that is phenomenal. Like, there is so much information now that we're literally just scratching the surface of. And yet the results are really what we're interested in, right? When people start looking at quantum physics and the law of attraction and manifestation, it's usually like you probably here listening today, it's usually because they want to know how they can utilize this theory. How do they utilize it for their benefit? And, like many things, the good news is we don't need to know really how it works. We don't need to know the answers to why certain things in the universe respond to our thoughts. But if we know that they do, then it is important to understand how we can benefit from that, how we can use that information to our benefit. Many of us don't know, for example, how a car engine works. And yet, on any given day, people all around the world get into their cars and drive around the city with pure acceptance that what's happening under the hood is happening so that they can move themselves forward in their lives and their businesses, right? It's just a tool of transportation, right? Mobility. And that's the same way here. Like we can look at quantum attraction, right? The quantum physics and the law of attraction. We can look at that piece and start to understand for ourselves, like, what would it look like if we were participating in utilizing that tool? And really, that's the gift we have our hands on when we recognize the benefits of quantum attraction. The ability to create what we desire in co-creation with the universe. The law of attraction, quantum physics, the combination of those two things as quantum attraction, this is a golden key, right? It's like golden ticket, if you will. And so we have the ability to create what we desire in co-creation with the universe when we use quantum attraction. And I will go one step further to say, FYI, here's a little secret. You're already using it right now. Now, don't worry. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But the reality is we're always using it. It's not something we turn off, right? It's constantly happening. As a law, the law of attraction, it is constantly in process. It's always going through the motions. So if you are ready to tap into quantum attraction in earnest, right? So on purpose, I've got 3 simple steps that can help you do that. And you can take those steps right away. The beauty of this is, like I said, it's already working in your life. Quantum attraction is already working in your life. It's working right now. And I'll prove it in just a moment. So first, the first step that we're going to talk about. So step number 1 is to become mindful of your persistent thoughts. All right? Mindful of your persistent thoughts. Now, like I said, you've got a plethora of thoughts every day going through your head. So this isn't just random thoughts, but those are the thoughts that continually show up, that repeat themselves over and over again in your life. And you find yourself like maybe daydreaming off, and those thoughts just kind of pop up and keep rolling and rolling. Some people call it the internal dialogue. That thought pattern that continues to happen over and over every day, those are your repetitive thoughts. And those are the ones we first want to be aware of. So first step, become mindful. Become mindful of those persistent thoughts. Now, some of those thoughts are probably really good thoughts. Some of those thoughts are things that make you happy, things that you're, envisioning for yourself in your life and maybe even your business. Those are the loving thoughts and kind thoughts. However, conversely, there are probably other thoughts that continue to repeat in your mind, in your head, that you don't necessarily want to focus on, right? Those are the thoughts that might even be holding you back. And we'll get to that in a moment. But the reality is you have all of these thoughts, and many of them are repeating over and over and over again, almost on autopilot, right? The thoughts just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. So the first thing is to become mindful, to pay attention, and become mindful of the persistent thoughts. Really pay attention to the ones that are happening over and over again in your life so that you can really get a clear sense of what you're thinking about. What thoughts are you putting out into that universal magic quantum attractor, right? So then the second step really is, now that you've kind of seen for yourself, what are those subconscious thoughts that are rolling around and really persisting throughout the day. Number 2 is to consciously raise your vibration. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Your vibration around those thoughts that you do want to manifest. Raise your vibration around the thoughts that you do want to manifest. What this looks like, well, the risk of not doing this, I should say, is that Oftentimes I'll have clients come in, and many times their very first session, the first thing I need to show them is that they have these persistent thoughts. And it's really easy to do. All I need to do is ask them, tell me a little about yourself. And suddenly they'll roll into talking about all the things that aren't going right, the things that they wish they had or wish hadn't happened or wish they didn't do. And in that moment, I usually have just one question. And that question is this: what do you want? What do you want? You spend 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes sometimes telling me what you don't want, what you don't like, what you're not happy with, right? There's the sign. Those are thoughts that are persistently rolling in their minds, and perhaps even yours, that come out when you're given the space to talk about it. And those are the ones we need to really pay attention to as well, because we want to make sure that we are raising our vibration around the thoughts that we do want. So how do you raise your vibration? When we talk about our vibration, again, going back to the idea that we're all energy, everything is energy, we need to look at how we can give ourselves a vibrational change, an energetic shift, if you will, right? Like a rise up of energy that's positive. And the easiest way to do that really is to think about something that makes you extremely happy whenever you think about it. And it could be anything. It could be, the look of a loved one. It could be a moment in time when you really felt empowered and happy. It could be something outside in nature. It could be a sunset or the sound of the waves crashing on the shore at the ocean. It could be music. It could be a song that just makes you want to get up and dance. Whatever it is, allow yourself to stay at that level of vibration, right? So stay in that state of happy, uplifted, joyful, positive energy, and then bring that thought that you do want back into your mind, right? So hold the vibration and bring the thought up with it. That is how you consciously raise your vibration and your thought into the same realm, right? So the thought of the thing that you do want, for that, and the energy, kind of bringing your energy up and then holding that thought consciously. Practicing to hold the thought of the thing you do want at the front of your mind at the highest possible energetic vibration. Highest possible energetic vibration, most intent, most desired positive thought. That's what you want to do. So that's step 2. And the next piece, step 3, this is where we take those two things and really start to tap in fully to quantum attraction. And that is that we want to take your focus and bring it just to that thought. So focus solely on the vision of your desired result until it comes to reality. So number 3, right? Focus solely on the vision of your desired result until it becomes a reality. Most important piece there, right? Until it becomes a reality. Not just hold it for a moment. You've got to continue to do it consistently. And I would say that this last piece is typically the most challenging for people. And it's understandable, right? We just talked about the fact that you have thousands, if not 50,000 different thoughts rolling around in your head every day. And that's everything. That's all the stuff you got to do and who you got to talk to and all of those great things, as well as the things that are really on your heart, right? And on your mind and your head, mind, body, spirit, that whole piece of what you want and desire for yourself and your world and your life and your business. Those are all part of that. And so to focus can be challenging. And so if you're one of those people who struggles with that, then this is my invitation to you to really think about how you're getting support, because what you want is someone who will hold you accountable to keep your thoughts focused on those things you do want. Someone who will cheer you on and encourage you to believe in those thoughts, because what will happen sometimes, maybe even oftentimes, especially when you're starting out, is that the other thoughts we talked about earlier, the ones that maybe aren't so great, they'll come right back in looking for some attention, right? They'll come in and it could sound like gremlins. It can sound like internal dialogue. It can sound like, some people call it monkey brain. It can sound like a lot of things, but I'll tell you what it's not. It's not helpful. And it distracts you from being able to really tap fully into the quantum attraction process. And so that's why it's important to focus. It's important to focus so that you can really hone the energy. Think of it like turning up the volume so clearly You know the old radio dials? Maybe some of you don't, but in the olden days when you had to kind of tune in a radio, there was like one little degree where it could be completely off track or it would be completely clear. And so the idea of focusing your energy and your intention on that one thing that you do want, to such clarity that you attract it like a magnet. So that last step, really, like I said, it's something that many people need to have a sore report on. So if you find yourself in the place of thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm like that. Like, I think I have a good idea. I try to think about what I want. I try to be positive. These are things you might hear yourself saying or other people saying, like, I don't know, I try to be really thought positive about things. I really do want to have this great home, or really want to expand my business. I really do want to retire. I really do want to expand and grow into another country or across the world or the globe with my online programs. Whatever it is, you have these, I really do, but, right? So if that's you, ask yourself, right? And this is what I was talking about earlier. Ask yourself, if it's true that your thoughts are helping create your reality, what are you thinking about? Or what have you been thinking about persistently? And how does that line up with the life you have right now? Does it support what you see? Some of those thoughts, by the way, could be worries or nightmares or fears. And have they come to pass because the energy around them was so high, so charged, that they became magnetized? The thing about a law is it's impartial. So quantum attraction, the law of attraction, it's impartial. You put the pieces of the pie recipe, the cake recipe in, and you get a cake. It doesn't care who made the cake, right? It's like when you put the pieces in, you get the same results out, right? So that's why it's important to go through those steps, right? Step 1, again, become mindful of what your persistent thoughts are. Recognize them. Are you talking more about what you don't want? Are you focused more on what you're afraid will happen than what you do want to happen, than what you do want to have or do or be? So that's the first step. Be mindful. And then the second step, once you've figured that out, is consciously raise your vibration around the thoughts that you do want to make manifest. And then lastly, it's focus. Focus that energy right back into those thoughts. Keep it trained on, be single-minded if you have to for a while. Now, again, this is the other piece, like be single-minded until this becomes really easy. What I mean by that is take the time to practice these steps until doing the steps becomes natural. It may not be the time if you're just starting out to do everything on your want list, right? Like all those want thoughts or desire thoughts or visionary thoughts. But pick the one, if you're starting out, that is already bringing you to a higher vibration, right? So the one, when you think about it, you already kind of feel excited. Like there's something in you that maybe is like that nervous, happy excitement, maybe a little bit of a stretch, but it feels really exciting. That's a good indicator. Like pick that one and start there. Start at that first thing and give yourself permission to just focus on the one thing. Focus on the one thing until it actually is achieved. And then as you get comfortable with it, you have the power, right? You're there. You know how to do it now. And you'll have the evidence behind that. So you can really feel that it's important and it's for you. Like you can do it. You're capable. And once you've done that enough, so the thing is, when we do this consistently enough and with purpose, we become master creators. Like we do tap into the process of creating with creation. So when you can get to a place, and again, whether that's on your own or you need help and you need somebody to support you around moving through those 3 stages, just know that as you continue to move forward, you're already making change. You're already on the path of using quantum attraction in your life. And then when you do, and you do it consistently, you become the master creator and your life becomes an example of true abundance. The abundance to be able to have and experience the life you really desire, to live a fulfilled life, a life of significance, because it's one that you've created on purpose, right? It's not something that's happening all around you. It's something that you're creating, you're co-creating with the universe. So whatever you are up to, when you look at quantum attraction, when you look at quantum physics and the law of attraction, I want you to understand that it's not something that other people have figured out and it's some kind of magic secret that you can't attract or can't connect to. You are already using it right now. We're just talking about taking conscious action in becoming a co-creator with it now, so that you get to have the life that you truly desire and come from a place where you feel like you are living on purpose. Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't yet, subscribe and ring the bell. And if you want to see more videos like this, click right here.